Hey guys, so last week on Mouthwash, if I can find it.
Dorn, Lucy's husband Dorn's on here. Trump needs to get off of social media, right, Lucy? And I don't think Dorn even
I think
went
he
banned.
needs to get off of a lot of things, and one of those things may be minors, but you didn't hear it from me first.
No,
Oh,
not
okay.
first. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
Not
was at first, but I'll tell you what, I am. Uh, I'm actually pretty upset about this TPUSA thing because I was digging on Charlie and his step up and talk to me and let's keep everybody talking. And then as luck would have it, it's such a coincidence that he was offered $150 million by Zionist interests, and 48 hours later he was dead. But his honeypot wife, whose mom is a defense contractor.
nothing going on there.
Yeah,
Not
nothing
nothing
going
going
on.
on there.
nothing to see here. Don't pay no
Yeah,
attention to the
so
man behind the curtain.
yeah, so I'm really sad and kind of ashamed that I watched the entire memorial with all the pyrotechnics and all the nationalist speeches.
As
Um,
one
you know,
does at a
as one
memorial.
does. I mean, I was
Yeah.
crying like they were harvesting my loosh. They did not get my money because I did not buy merch. So that video you see of Erica just a few days after Charlie's death, pumping up the team for doing such a great job selling merch, I was not a part of that at all. And I will
What is your
absolutely.
guys' merch gonna be at your funerals? Like, have you thought of that yet? Like, what?
After they get done with the party,
Yeah,
they
like I
throw it
mean,
for me
I
to
didn't,
go
I
away.
hadn't thought about what kind of merch I'd sell at my
I
funeral
know.
yet.
See, it's been my blind spot too. So
Yeah,
clearly, I've
So
got to
I'm
get with
Catholic,
ChatGPT and do some
so
branding.
total normal
we'd
way of
probably just have
grieving.
some prayer cards, just a little card with my
Yeah,
favorite prayers on
that's.
them.
I mean, that is so classic.
Like, yeah,
So
that'll
Definitely,
be
I'm
yeah.
just
fun.
I'm just trusting
Classy
that for
all the
my
way, Tiffany.
I'm
That is
trusting for my funeral
Maybe
that
a
Vern's
T-shirt
gonna
that says
have.
"My Last Rodeo." Maybe that.
So what?
Vern's gonna.
Hey, Randy, are you going to put like your memorial on your
I
semi
love
truck?
these guys.
Now, are you a private operator or do you have a fleet of trucks?
Oh yeah,
So my brother and I own 20 trucks.
Okay.
We have about 40 tankers, and I'm actually when I get off the show tonight, I got to take a load of milk up to Chicago
Oh
to a
man, bring it to my
Mexican cheese
house. I
factory.
drink a
And
gallon a
Brad's
day.
listen, Brad's laughing at me because I'm
no,
an
I'm not.
blue
Somebody
collar
posted this.
worker, right? Oh,
Oh,
No, no.
see, now, folks, Brad.
See, okay, I just want to say I do love these guys. You got Lucy up there, you got Tiffany. Um, I just noticed Lucy's uh, handle there too. I think it says um, safe from believing Erica Kirk, which is just classic Lucy. And then Tiffany, she was giving some side eyes, I thought, during that whole, that whole debate, as Tiffany does, in her own way. I do love that she went classy, though, just regular prayer cards as our funeral swag. Because yeah, like that was one thing that Lucy brought up. I'm like, what would I do? And so that's what Adam had on the screen there. Um, and I always end up laughing at the most worst times. But so yeah, thank you, Adam, for chiming in on that one. But
Has access to putting this stuff up. I did not put this up. I'm like, how did that get up there?
well,
So
Adam
Brad did that
Harvey,
to himself.
yeah, that, and I'm sorry, yeah, Randy, I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay.
No,
This
all right. I'm
happens a
just-
lot. Like somebody
I'm
was
just
talking about
saying.
abortions one time, and like I was laughing at a comment, and it's like, damn it, how does that?
Yeah, it's like
just the timing of it.
we
So.
get involved in the show and we forget we're supposed to be the panelists and the host and things. So
Alrighty, and so again, if you guys are tuning into, I'm not sure what this is going to be on because my Facebook is still censored. Let's see, where am I? Yeah, my Facebook is still censored because of something that happened last week, and I think I have a video on that too on my Facebook ban. Wait. So I'm sorry. My conspiracy is that I'm still banned from sharing live videos on Facebook.
That's
right now.
good. You don't deserve to be able to share. Live
Oh
videos.
my gosh, Tiffany!
here we go.
You don't even
Here
know
we
what
go.
I
We
got
made it the
banned
whole
for.
show.
You know what?
Right?
I can imagine. You don't deserve it.
What? I don't deserve it.
Look
Is
at
what?
you. Look
I
at you.
don't
Trying to
deserve
act
this
like you're all
ban.
privileged.
But you
Listen,
you
I'm
can still.
Stephanie. I'm very aware of my privilege.
What is your
I,
privilege?
I could do all. That's what I'll do my
You
next
can do
show on.
anything
is-
you want except share live videos on Facebook.
Yeah, that is first world Brad problems right there.
But you have mouthwash. So, when you do a live
Yeah.
stream, you can still go on mouthwash. So don't screw that up. So.
No, I'm trying not to.
Dude,
But
You're bringing
the-
down the value of our show, Brad.
the whole reason I got banned in the first place was because Jerry Lopez posted a video of a baseball player hitting a home run, and as he was rounding first, he jumped
Oh.
up, and like as he landed, he snapped his leg. I mean, like broke it.
I mean,
Right.
it was like
It was
yeah,
gross. I
saw
don't know
the
how
picture.
his leg was that brittle.
It just snapped.
Low vitamin D.
Well, and so my comment though was, oh, that's that just looks horrible. He should have snorted some cocaine off of a toilet seat to strengthen the bone. And I got banned for advertising drug use or like advocating for drug use. And the whole thing was because RFK earlier that day made a joke on like a Theo Vaughn podcast about I'm not scared of a germ. I've snorted cocaine off of a toilet seat before. How am I in trouble? And the freaking Department of Health and Human Services secretary, like he's not.
I got
That
an
video
idea,
was.
Brad.
What did you share?
He just said that.
I just said it. Like I just typed it. I just typed. Should have snorted some cocaine off of a toilet seat to strengthen the bone. Ha ha. Right? Like it was something like that. It was
LOL.
clearly a joke, not like.
Not medical advice.
No, it wasn't.
That's
Brad,
not like-
I know the answer. I know the
off of
answer.
a
It's a
toilet
club.
seat?
It's
You
a
know?
club, and you ain't in it. Okay, so I think my feed's skipping out real bad here. So I'm going to do my conspiracy.
John is correct on that one. It's a club and we ain't in it. So yeah, I'm still actually banned from Facebook or Facebook Live, I guess, for the time being. I did want to take this moment because I did want to. I'm still blaming Jerry Lopez for playing that video in the first place or sharing it, and because of that, that led me to the reaction that I had that led to me getting banned. So, roundabout way, Jerry got me banned. But take a look here. Monday, March 2nd, from 7 to 9 p.m., Jerry Lopez and I will be talking about baseball. I just called it baseball chatter for now because I have no idea what a title would be. I just wanted to get together with somebody to talk about the World Baseball Classic. I met Jerry once at the Hamilton County Republican. I don't know. So it was something that Tiffany Ditlifson was putting on. She's the head of that, and I always like going because I feel safe when I go there because I know Tiffany, and I just want to observe MAGA Republicans in their natural settings. It's like National Geographic, kind of. I went to the debate party there, but I think me and Jerry, we were at something where Tony Kinnett was speaking and stuff, and Jerry had a Yankees hat on, so I was immediately kind of like, oh, he likes the Empire. Okay, that makes sense. And just talking to him here and there about stuff, I'd love to hear, his stories about how he got into baseball. I know he's pretty passionate Yankees fan, so I'm a pretty passionate White Sox fan. We have a few less World Series victories, but it's not about that anymore. It's about integrity. Disregard the Black Sox 1919 scandal, I guess, too. But Comiskey had it coming. All right, so let's see here. Tonight, I actually wanted to talk about Senator Gaskell. For those of you guys who don't know, HB 1359. Let me see if I can get that up here. HB 1359. Senator Gaskell put in an amendment to change early voting from 28
House
days.
Bill 1359.
Yeah, he's going to change it from 28 days to 15 days or 16 days. And he did this without any public comment in this session. We're going to go through the footage from the election committee meeting here on the 16th, I think it was. But you'll see two of the senators do bring up the fact that, hey, this should be its own bill. This should not have been added right at the last minute. They even asked him point blank, are you going to allow for public comment?
Scanning ballots.
And the whole bill is scanning ballots. It has nothing to do with.
I don't see our bill author here. I do have an amendment for this bill. Had discussion with Representative Wesco and buy-in from him on this amendment. It is amendment number 2, and the amendment reduces the number of early voting days from 28 to 16, leaves the rest of the bill's provisions intact. The concept behind the amendment is that a shorter amount of time for early voting will save money and also make it easier to administer the election and puts us more in the middle. If you look at the number of days of early voting that most states allow, we at 28 days, we're kind of an outlier on the high end. And I'm sure many of you have heard the argument that even here at the legislature that it's election day, not election month. By going to 16 days, it still allows 3 weekends. If you look at the fact that election is on a Tuesday, 16 days still allows 3 weekends of early voting. So the chair would present the amendment and open up for any discussion or questions from.
Now, before we get to the questions from Senator Cadora and Senator Ford, and I think actually even Senator Walker voted against this, and I think he's Republican, if I'm not mistaken. He's probably a rhino. I know what Indiana Republican isn't, except for Andrew Ireland and Todd Rokita, and I don't know, whoever else you guys want to place on little pedestals. But yeah, we'll get to that. I just wanted to comment on the fact that Gaskell said that he wants to do this based on saving money. And it's just hilarious because everything that this Republican supermajority has done, that goes against, look at Micah with his freaking SUV, Diego with his SUV, luxury items, they're going to, I mean, they all got raises in 2022 as well. They all voted for them. That was that budget year that we're like, how are we doing that and giving them raises? So it's just funny that when it comes to, voting and election convenience, that is when they start pinching pennies, kind of going against opening up as many opportunities for people to vote as possible. Not to vote as many times as possible, the opportunity to vote.
The committee. Senator Cadora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I oppose this amendment, and here's why. It took a lot of time and effort to get to this point. First, it does not reduce it from 28 to 16 days. It reduces from 28 to 15 days because the 16th day is a Sunday. So it's 15 days. So the language said 16th, but technically and practically it's 15 days. Second, when I looked at the last 2 elections, 2022 and 2024 in Indiana, that means that the 2 weeks that are eliminated from early voting, you're going to squeeze 6,000 to 10,000 voters a day into the 15 days based on this amendment. And my concern, while I appreciate the thought about saving money, when I weigh two policy options, option one, protect voters, give them access. People, hardworking people don't have the luxury of leaving every day from work at certain days, times of the week. So the more that we have flexibility, the more that we can allow people to participate. It does not give any political party any advantage. So evident by the election results, if you look at county elections, if you look at city elections, if you look at state general assembly elections, because the districts have been set. So, but what it does, you either allow people to vote or they will disengage if they have shorter period of time. I'll conclude with sharing with you one story in my district. In 2020, there was only one vote center in my district, and people waited for an average of 6 hours. 6 hours. Now, I do understand it was during COVID timeframe, and there were additional circumstances. I think Senator Ford came to visit me at that time at the parking lot of St. Luke's United Methodist Church, the largest church in my district. And there was a senior citizen who collapsed waiting in line that they had to call the ambulance to come pick her up. If you go 10 minutes north of my district in Hamilton County, so that church is off 86th Street. 86th Street. If you go just slightly north of 96th Street, people were able to vote in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or less. So the way that when we shorten the period of time for a county that has closed almost to 1 million people, it really impacts people. So I'm very concerned that this is a reverse of a good policy that does not give political advantage. Republicans and Democrats will be able to continue to vote. It doesn't give anybody any advantage, but it just makes it more convenient to vote. And I will always be on the side of making it more convenient for voters to vote. If there's fraud, if there's any issues, we can tackle that. But I don't think that's the genesis of the bill. It's not about fraud or anything like that, or voting security. So I think between the policy of saving dollars versus allowing access and increasing voter participation at a time when Indiana ranks in the bottom 5 nationwide on voter participation, I think it's extremely problematic. I appreciate your
Kadora.
thoughts on this, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kadora. But actually, one of the concerns that folks have that do not like the number of the lengthy period of early voting that we have is related to election integrity. So we may have a disagreement on cause and effect, but that.
Yeah, so that is a concern apparently amongst people, is that the longer, the longer span you can have for mail-in voting and stuff, or early election, it'll lead to issues with election integrity. But he didn't even really say that in the beginning, did he? He just kind of laid more into the "this is about saving money" initiative, right? And again, I don't know why everybody wants lines at voting centers. I feel like voting should be something that you can kind of go in and out. It's not a business. I'll play the clip later from Mouthwash. We talked about that, and I just feel that we should open voting up to where it's it's as easy as going through a drive-through. It's not, and it has that many opportunities. We'll get into that in a second. I want to see our Senator Kadora comes up with a really good question here.
That is a concern that many have.
May I-
Senator Ford,
May I ask just follow-up question to you, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
On the integrity of the elections, because I want to support your position if we know the facts. Do we know that, at least since this law took effect, how many cases were prosecuted, investigated because of election integrity issues since we moved to 28 days?
I don't have that in front of me.
You don't?
I'm of the opinion that the shorter period is a compromise between folks that do have concerns about election integrity with a longer period of early voting. And it still puts us kind of in the middle of the pack of what other states do. Both, if you look at red and blue states, we are really an outlier at 28 days.
So it has more to do with just his feelings about it than anything else.
100%. if we have data that shows that thousands of people abused the system and voted fraudulently, because
Who
we want to
needs
protect the
data?
integrity of our elections. But last time I checked, in the last decade, there were like 2 cases across Indiana, or 3 cases that really made it to prosecution. So my point is that if we have the facts and the data, let's present that, let's talk about that. But here, you're taking 2 to 3 cases in the last decade, and then at the same time, in 2022, I think we had 90,000 plus people in a midterm election in Indiana who voted. About 17% of the voters who voted during that election voted early voting. So we're telling people, working class families, we're going to shrink the period of time for you to vote because there was 1 or 2 cases in a decade that were prosecuted. If we have that data.
That's not the argument. I'll
Okay.
let you go ahead and finish
Thank
your
you.
thought, but that is not.
thought
my
that
arg-
was the
That is
point
not
about-
my argument
Okay.
of the number of cases. It's strictly, and I think.
It's strictly
you and I both
hypothetical.
Share an accounting background, and you don't wait for fraud to happen in a
Correct.
business or enterprise. You set up a process that makes it less likely, regardless of whether you've had a case or not. So that would be my argument, is that this is a process improvement from my perspective, and I certainly respect your right to disagree.
Absolutely. I appreciate your perspective. If it's not broken, it doesn't need to be fixed. If the auditors tell you it is working, you stick
Yeah.
with it. And the auditors
Stick
of our
with it.
election so far tells us that the process is working. But thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Cador. Senator Ford, I thought I saw your hand as well.
You did. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to echo my colleague's sentiments about this and join you and him in making sure that we want.
Senator Ford, I want to share my screen on this one. He had a Facebook post that that dealt with this. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. It says, today in the Elections Committee, an amendment was passed to reduce early voting from 28 days to 16 days without any public testimony. Spoiler alert, the amendment did pass. Unless you're watching this now and you're like, whoa, I can't wait to see. Cutting the early voting period nearly in half would hurt Hoosiers with difficult working schedules, transportation issues, who rely on the current early voting hours to make their voices heard at the ballot box. When Indiana consistently ranks near or at the bottom of voter participation, we should be looking to create more opportunities to vote, not limit them. I completely agree. And then there's there's my buddy Cassie. Some colorful language, and then my buddy Tim. Okay, so nobody's happy. Everyone's either a bunch of cheaters. God, like that's like we can't all vote on one day. It would be like all of us going to sporting events at the same time. It would have to be a federal holiday or something like that if they really all wanted us to vote at one single individual time. Even still, there would be hiccups in that. So I don't understand the hatred of the early voting. It can lead to voter fraud. No, I mean, I guess it can, but like, oh, let me see. Oh God, sorry about that, guys. That was rude. Okay. And then Tommy Ice in the comments. That's it. Like I don't know if we did one day voting all the time too, or I mean the way that the postal service worked, I imagine that people might not have like found out who won by a certain time. I'm talking about like before the telegraph and stuff like that. So when electoral decisions were made at the basic rule level, I guess. But yeah, that's a good point. But I do feel like there had to have been some sort of provisions for like mail-in ballots and whatnot outside of kind of what exists now. So let's see. I wanted to get to the other Gaskill. Okay, so this is actually when Senator Walker. Yeah. This is when Senator Walker
Thank you.
comments.
I too share a concern as
We
I
got
have,
concerns.
the privilege to represent areas that have seen early in-person voting now become 50% of the total vote cast in parts of Johnson and Bartholomew counties. Bartholomew is one of the pilot counties that brought this to the attention of the voter, and I can't imagine how voter confidence would have diminished with that many voters actively participating in the process. Both of these counties are, not that it makes a lot of difference, but they're strongly Republican counties. And so for them to show that degree of confidence in the system as to be part of that early vote, I think that is actually data we can look at to say that the public doesn't have concerns. But I have one question for you along with my statement is, the initial bill was dealing with how we tally early voting with standing equipment. How is this amendment germane to the question of the bill?
Fantastic
Changing
question.
the days for which voting can occur. It seems like a different topic. to me.
I posed that question to our majority legal staff and gave them time to mull it over, and they came back to me with an answer that it was germane to the bill.
Okay, so if that's the case, then how long has Gaskell been planning this? How long has he been thinking about adding the amendment in? Kedora and Ford and Walker, they were all kind of taken aback by it. Granted, the other 5 Republicans on the committee, they didn't seem to bat an eye. But yeah, let's see where else
It's
is.
a topic of conversation that would be standalone, but I'll accept the judgment of our well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good question.
Mr. Chairman.
Again, if he put that much thought into it, and he even said that he gave, their attorneys time to figure out if it is germane to this bill, the fact that you would even have to ask that, that there's that kind of confusion or lack of confidence, yeah, it all boils down to how shady this all looks. I mean, this isn't the first time that, the amendments have been jammed in at the last minute without public comment. The last time with the IU Board of Trustees and Braun, that came out of nowhere, and I think that was in the SB1. There needs to be some sort of last ditch kind of effort or last ditch kind of public comment that can be made in this event. I don't understand taking the power away from the people. And Senator Kedora and Senator Ford both speak to that here.
Provide people to have some testimony on this. This is a pretty substantial policy shift.
Oh, wait.
Mr. Chairman, I would just have a quick question. Are you going to provide people to have some testimony on this? This is a pretty substantial policy shift that we're doing, and I know that today's only amended vote. Would you be open to that?
We fully debated and had testimony on this concept last year when we heard Senator Burns' bill, so it's not that the language has never been before the committee before.
Respectfully, that was last year, and this is a totally different year, different.
Actually, I think it was a shorter number of days too, as I recall. But,
Yeah. Okay.
Senator Kedora.
Again, point blank asked him, are you going to allow public comment? No, we've already discussed it. And funny thing, did that bill pass last year? It didn't, because that's why we're freaking talking about it right now. And that's why they wait until the last minute, and they wait until it's in a budget year or in a non-budget year. Because as you know, one of my buddies, Slick Witty, will always say, "Oh, it's a non-budget year. It's not a lot's going to happen." This is the kind of crap that happens. Is things just get slid in. People bank on not paying attention because it's a non-budget year, and we're going to get jammed in with less early voting days. Turning Point USA going into every high school. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But yeah, it's Republican supermajority. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am looking at the map of the nation with the number of states and how many days they have for elections. So we have 6 states that have more than 30 days, some of them up to 40 days of early voting. 6 states between 21 to 30 days, so almost 12 of them are above Indiana. And then 22 states have between what you suggested, 8 to 14. My concern, as Senator Ford mentioned, this is a major policy shift. I think if this was a standalone bill, you would have tens of people here testifying about how that impacts their counties, their communities, and their personal experiences. So I'm very concerned that, again, I came here before the amendment was introduced, thinking about the bill in one way, but now I have to think about it differently because of this amendment. I would have preferred that this has been either a standalone bill or, at minimum, an amendment that we could have the public testify on it. I'm getting text messages from folks in my district saying, where did this come from? Why is our district going to be impacted by this? So I would really appreciate it, Mr. Chair. I mean, when we introduce amendments, if we don't speak with you as the chair, we always are reminded that talk to the chair, talk to the members, don't take it to second reading. You are the chair, you have that privilege. But I think it's really a major amendment that would impact the whole state of Indiana. So it requires more thoughtful discussion among folks who will be impacted for us to hear their voices. I know that probably.
Well, and Senator Kadora brings up a good thing too. He says that if it were announced that tens of people would be there. And I think people, if you're not familiar, I guess, with like the testimonies and stuff, I mean, that is still a lot of people. For people to get off of work or to come in on or take a PTO day and go in and testify, it's people participating in all of it, and it's a great thing to see. I always get deflated anytime people are like, "Oh, don't these people have jobs? Why are they out protesting, or why are they out, testifying? I wish I could go march, but I can't. I have to work." And like, people have things to do all day. I mean, I went out in the middle of the day around Christmas time, and it was packed on a weekday. What the hell were all those people doing shopping? By that logic, don't those people have jobs? How come they're all out? It's like, you don't get to decide what people get to do with their days off, or what they do with their free time. If they want to go shopping at a mall, they can go shopping at a mall. If they want to go to the State House and testify, they can. If they want to just go march outside with a little sign, that too, even if they're the only one. And, I think there's going to still be more people speaking up. The longer that this kind of suppression goes on.
You have made your decision, but it would be extremely gracious of you to allow us to not move this amendment, and let's have debates on it. Let's come back next session and bring people to testify on it. I don't think it will change anything between now and next session.
It is a compromise, a move away from what we passed out of the committee last year. And appreciate your comments on the bill or on the amendment, rather. And like I said, it's not the first time that we've heard this. Is there other questions or comments?
That's how he ends it. That's not the first time we've heard this.
Okay. Did
and they lost last time. God.
I don't think we did, yeah. So we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Please call the roll.
Senator Ford.
Well, the vote
Commissioner Fernando,
passes.
Mr. Chairman.
Again, I don't want to just spoil it for you guys, but we did talk about this with our guest on Tuesday, Randy Niemeyer. He was the Republican County Chair of Lake County, and here's what we ended up talking about there.
Do 30 days, 16 days, 3 weekends is more than enough. We might actually have good lines at some of these early vote centers where people are actively participating. And we know that when there's a line out the door, everybody wants to be there. So I'm in favor of shortening it to 16 days.
So one of the
It's not a business though. Like long lines don't mean success. Like we shouldn't.
Oh, come on, Brad.
No, like why are we thinking of it like a business? Like, ooh, look at that long
It's
line.
like
Let's
you're-
stand in it.
You're a
So I-
baseball guy.
Why do you want people to have to stand in the line?
I've worked
Right.
at early voting locations, and I think the issue is that they close too early. I think that's more important than anything.
Tiffany for the win.
I think on like Fridays, I think they close at like, I don't know, like 5 o'clock or so, or maybe 6 o'clock. I think if anything, if you're going to shorten the days, the period should be longer because the
Might be
number
good.
of people who would show up after early voting ended was astronomical. So I think if anything, especially on like the Fridays and Thursday and Friday, it should be until like maybe 7 p.m., maybe 7:30. But I think I'm not sure if it usually ended at like 5 or 6. Maybe it was 6, but it's just too early.
It's generally 6 o'clock. So Brad, you're a baseball guy. You know Yogi Berra, right? So
Yeah.
have you ever heard the Yogi Berra quote? Nobody goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too crowded.
Yep, Yogi's got a lot of good quotes though. Like
Yeah.
but
So I mean, it's like so there's got to be some exclusion. But Tiffany, that's a great point. If we were to open it up to 8 on 2 or 3,
Open it up to
days,
10.
would really help people because there is something to that. So Lucy, what do you think? Nobody even goes votes libertarian
Best part.
anymore, so why do you even care?
I don't think voting matters at all. I think it's participation in theater. And honestly, it doesn't matter.
I
if
love
you vote
Lucy
for
so
council.
much.
And even in our skeptical, society that we have now, I think that most people will agree with that. We have 11.
I have to say, like being on that show is one of my favorite. One of my favorite parts of my day. I would say, or week, really. It's funny, like they're some of my best friends. I think and they let me have it. Tiffany yelling at me about how I deserve the Facebook ban and whatnot. But again, Tiffany had a great point. Looking at people working regular, typical 8 to 5 hours or 8 to 5 jobs, like, how are they going to be impacted by this? And so if you do actually leave it open for a couple hours, till 8, even later, I really think that would be beneficial. All right, let's get into the Trump derangement syndrome because I still need to get some things off my chest on that. I feel like he's overall been he's been kind of, I don't know, he's been just as bad. Look at him there with his little golden gavel and surrounded by his board of peace. Which again, the board of peace, what the hell is that? How is that even legal? What are they doing? They have like 0 countries that we're the most powerful one again. And he always says stuff like, oh, well, this is to, correct the United Nations or put the UN in its place. Well, weren't we part of the UN? Like, why couldn't you facilitate that? Why couldn't you negotiate a deal or anything like that to where, we would be included, or we would be including everybody else, as opposed to a board of peace that's basically going to just keep bulldozing Gaza until there's new beachfront property. Jared Kushner's involved in this still. I don't know why. He has like no actual title or credential other than, being married to his daughter. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Truth Social posts. Hang on. I want to play this. Wait. Oh yeah, okay. So Trump's tweet. This one is about how many things does he actually need a name? He wants his name and his face just everywhere. You look at the Kennedy Center, you look at Penn Station. This is his tweet about Penn Station, and how apparently somebody else wanted to name it after him. It's never him. It's probably some guy who came up to him, big burly guy, tears in his eyes. He said, "Sir, thank you. You deserve, your own arch. You deserve your own station. You deserve your own ballroom." Speaking of the arch, let's get into the arch, because there's a video that made my head kind of explode. Partially just because of, well,
Leave a
hang
big
on.
mark on Washington.
Okay, so this is about the Arc de Trump, and they want to put it in this little circle here. And so this is on the way from Arlington, Virginia into Washington, D.C. I really think people need to go stand out there now, partially just because when he started talking about the bulldozer, or when he started talking about the ballroom, he didn't even wait for the okay. He just sort of went and started demolishing it, and then being like, "Yeah, we'll do the plans later." That's what he's going to do here. If he's already talking about it, and he's already saying that we needed to have it for the last 200 years, which is nowhere near accurate. Just saying.
We're considering an arc that's like the Arc de Triomphe.
Planning to build an Independence Arch, a 250-foot tall structure near the Lincoln Memorial, featuring a 60-foot statue of Lady Liberty on top. Andy says history is on his side.
For 200 years, they've wanted to build an arc. The circle prior to the bridge, the Arlington Bridge, has been waiting for hundreds of years to have this done. In fact, they have 4 eagles that got built, but it was interrupted by a thing called the Civil War.
But that history isn't quite right.
There's never been a clamor for an arch. Early in the 20th century, after World War I, some communities in America built temporary wooden arcs of triumph to welcome the troops back home in a very temporary fashion. In my view of beautification, it should be a public process. If you're going to name something after yourself, you should hope that somebody else is leading the crusade.
Trump inspired by a 2017 Bastille Day visit to Paris, where he had a front row seat to France's military pomp and pageantry, first unveiling his plan for an arch back in October 2025.
Small, medium, and large.
But without mentioning just how much this Arc de Trump might cost.
We're setting up a committee, and the committee's going to be going over it.
The proposed structure would stand almost 100 feet taller than the famous Arc de Triomphe in Paris, and higher than the Lincoln Memorial nearby.
We're the biggest, most powerful nation. I'd like it to be the biggest one of them.
There are no concrete plans for breaking ground, but Trump says he wants to unveil the new structure as part of celebrations marking America's 250th birthday. It's not the first time the president has offered an historical rationale for construction plans, saying officials for 150 years have wanted a large event space to justify the $400 million ballroom being built at the White House.
Could the East Wing have used a restoration? Absolutely. Could Donald Trump contribute to that cause? Yes. But what he is doing is trying to take out the DNA of the White House and make it his own.
In addition to the ballroom, Trump is closing the Kennedy Center for 2 years of renovations. He replaced the lawn and the Rose Garden with a patio area reminiscent of his Mar-a-Lago estate, installed a Walk of Fame featuring portraits of past presidents, and added golden flourishes, cherubs, and other flashy items to the overhauled Oval Office.
Never before in American history have we had a president so trained on self-aggrandizement as Donald Trump. He's spending a real hunk of his presidency trying to build monuments to himself.
But as for the so-called Arc de Trump, critics are raising concerns about the scale of the structure and its potential to obstruct historic views, including John F. Kennedy's eternal flame and gravesite across the Memorial Bridge in Arlington Cemetery, and added risk to air traffic at the nearby Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport.
And Andrea is joining us now. Andrea, it's good to talk to you. You know, it's interesting, as Douglas Brinkley said in your piece, normally someone else would be leading the crusade and naming a piece of architecture after a president. Nobody else is leading this crusade. This is all the president leading his own crusade. So I think the question is why?
Well, Yasmin, it's exactly what he did as a builder, naming apartment buildings and towers all over the world after himself. But this is, you know, the public space. So people who know him well say that he's trying to leave a legacy in concrete, in brass, in marble. But critics say that it's a cult of personality, more reminiscent, frankly, of strongmen and dictators around the world. And that it is a break with precedent because, as you point out in the past, buildings and monuments are built for presidents after they're gone, after they've died.
Right.
But not.
Yeah, we're not going to forget about Trump. He doesn't need to worry about building a legacy in concrete and brass or whatever the hell he wanted it, or, you know. Yeah, we're going to be feeling the impact of Trump for a while. It's not well after he's gone. So, you know, in a way, yeah, he's already sewn up his legacy. We'll be remembering. So, all right, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you. And let's let's see, me and Jerry Lopez talking baseball Monday, March 2nd, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Again, going to be talking World Baseball Classic, just baseball in general, talking about who our favorite players were, you know, growing up, things like that. Just some good old-fashioned fun conversations, not too much about politics probably. So, yeah, we're getting excited for it though. So we'll have a channel for you in a couple days too on where to tune in. But all right, thanks guys.